Why, hello everyone and welcome. So, did Apple just announce the best Mac desktop of all times? The new 2018 Mac Mini? Alright, what's up everyone? So yes, Apple announced a new Mac Mini. And before we talk about the new Mac Mini, I think we need to talk a little bit about the history of Mac Minis. The Mac Mini was supposed to be Apple's way of getting you, the consumer, from your PC desktop into the Mac ecosystem. They advertised that you can bring your own monitor, bring your own keyboard and mouse, but still get the Mac experience with, well, owning a Mac Mini. The Mac Mini has been notorious for its cheaper price tag compared to other Mac products. Unfortunately though, the Mac Mini hasn't seen an upgrade in a couple years. The last upgrade was in, I'm looking on Wikipedia, late 2014. And unfortunately, in late 2014, the specs of the Mac Mini suffered tremendously. In prior generations of the Mac Mini, we had discrete GPUs in them and somewhat decent like quad-core CPUs. However, in the 2014 iteration, they had dual-core chips, only hard drives, no discrete GPUs. It was just a mess. And that's why if you were to buy a Mac Mini, it would be a really bad investment. But Apple came out with a brand new Mac Mini that fixes all these problems and more. Kind of, but I really do think that this Mac Mini might be Apple's best desktop yet. But why? Well, let's look actually at Apple's website. So I'm going to go there and we're gonna go to Mac. So looking at the store page of the Mac Mini on Apple's website, you'll see you can get a Mac Mini for $799. Now, yes, this is slightly higher than other Mac Minis have been. You used to have Mac Minis starting off at like $599, maybe $499. This is definitely a higher price Mac Mini, but I think the specs and the features you can get from it really help make you understand that. So going into this, you'll see that you get a 3.6 gigahertz quad-core chip, not bad. However, it is only an i3. And although I'm not a huge fan that it is an i3, I will say that the i3 processors from Intel today, the 8th gen chips, are actually really good. Back in the day, you know, i3s, they're the lowest end chips, or the lower end chips, and they really weren't that great at all. But that really has changed. Of course, there's still reasons to get an i5 or an i7 performance-wise, but an i3 is actually not that bad. Of course, you can upgrade to an i7 here. It's interesting when you go from i3 to i7. In terms of memory, it starts off at 8 gigabytes, which for the end-all consumer is absolutely fine. If you're gonna get into video editing, you're gonna wanna get at least 16, depending on how much you're doing. Storage is a little interesting. Unfortunately, you only start off with 128 gigabytes of storage. Might be all right for you. You might wanna upgrade, but we'll talk about storage momentarily. Additionally, look at the Ethernet. You can get up to 10 gigabit Ethernet, which is really sweet for networking and all that. And for only an additional $100, I would say that is pretty worth it. Besides that, what is the max Mac Mini you can get? Well, let's just go to their higher end tier in the store and we can upgrade this to a 6-core i7, 64 gigabytes of RAM, which is pretty insane, a 2 terabyte hard drive, 10 gigabit Ethernet, $4,200 for a Mac Mini. That's probably a little too much. However, let's do something a little more reasonable, and you'll understand why I'm doing this momentarily. So let's just say we're gonna start off with 16 gigs of RAM. For only $200, that's not bad. Storage, let's just go with, 256. And in all reality, do I need a 3.2 gigahertz i7? Probably not. I think the 3 gigahertz i7 will be absolutely fine. So look, now we have a Mac Mini that is more reasonably priced at $1,400. Now, you might be realizing though, there is no discrete GPU. And also, why are you fine with 256 gigabytes of SSD storage? We have to go back. We have to go out of the store here. And we have to look at the overall specs of the Mac Mini, what ports, what I/O, etc. So looking at the back of the Mac Mini is where all your I/O is. Obviously you have power, Ethernet, Thunderbolt 3, and you have 4 Thunderbolt 3/USB-C ports, HDMI 2, as well as just simple USB 3 by USB-A protocol, and then a headphone jack. Surprising they haven't gotten rid of that. You have a lot of I/O, especially Thunderbolt 3. Thunderbolt 3 you can do a lot with. Yes, is 256 gigabytes of storage great? Really, it's not. But if you don't want to spend the money on all of that built-in SSD storage, which you cannot upgrade, you're fine with 256 gigabytes for like the operating system and maybe some applications, but you can get some really good hard drives to just dock into the Mac Mini for all of your hard drive and storage needs. Additionally, the RAM on the Mac Mini is user upgradable. It just has DIMMs that you can pull the RAM out, put new RAM in, fantastic. I still recommend, putting 16 gigabytes in. I don't think the pricing is totally unreasonable, but you're not stuck with whatever Apple gives you at the end of the day or whatever your first configuration is when you buy it. And that's a plus. However, diving into performance, yeah, I mean, you don't have a Core i9 chip in these Mac Minis, but even a 6-core 8th gen, i5 at 3 gigahertz, that goes up to 4.1, or even the i7 variant that goes from 3.2 to 4.6, that's really not that bad. And Apple even demoed some of their fans and whatnot in the Mac Mini to hopefully show off that hopefully this Mac Mini isn't gonna have many thermal problems, unlike some of their other Mac lineup. However, you might still be worried about the graphic performance. Even though these Intel chips have relatively decent graphic chips in them, they're still nothing compared to a discrete GPU, whether that is a NVIDIA 1080 Ti or more reasonably in the Mac world, something like a AMD RX 580, 560, whatever. So that's when eGPU enclosures come into mind. With Thunderbolt 3, you can essentially add a GPU to your Mac, as long as it has Thunderbolt 3. Yes, are you gonna be losing a little bit of performance from, going from a Thunderbolt 3 to a PCIe enclosure that is gonna house your GPU? Yeah, of course. But you'll still be able to get better performance and basically have a discrete GPU in these Mac Minis. And I think that's something really important to bring up. So in terms of an eGPU enclosure, I mean, we can make this a full video, but basically what do you have available? Well, right off the bat, on Apple's website, you have their partnership with Blackmagic, their Blackmagic eGPU. It's $700, so a little pricey, but in it, you'll get a AMD Radeon Pro 580 GPU, not bad. And then even looking at the unit itself, you have, Thunderbolt 3, USB 3, HDMI I/O on the back, so you get to expand the amount of ports you have on your Mac, whatever it is, even more so. However, again, the price is a little hefty, and I'm sure there are other options for an eGPU, but that's a video for another time. So all in all, I really do think that this Mac Mini is Apple's best desktop yet. At the end of the day, this Mac is really versatile and arguably extremely upgradable. Additionally, in terms of upgradability, yes, you can only upgrade the RAM in the Mac Mini out of the box. However, you can add additional upgrades. With Thunderbolt 3, there are so many options of what you can add to your computer, including storage. You can get some super fast SSD storage that'll act just like your internal storage. You'll be able to do all of your editing or, store your files on Thunderbolt 3 hard drive, and you now won't have any problems with your integrated hard drive. In terms of the graphics card, yeah, to be able to just add a eGPU enclosure, and every year when a new GPU comes out, sell the old one, buy a new one, dock it in. As long as drivers work, you should be good to go, and you'll be able to upgrade it for years to come. And yeah, in terms of the CPUs are pretty good. Getting a 6-core chip, up to 4.6 gigahertz, not bad at all. So overall, I'm really happy with what Apple came out with in regards to the Mac Mini. I'm excited to get my hands on it, but let me know what you guys think. Are you gonna be buying the Mac Mini? Do you like it? I think Apple definitely did the right thing with it. And guys, that's the video. Catch you in the next one. And the train goes off. Train, go away.